Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jamal. Hope you guys are all doing well. I'm actually stuck in traffic on my way home today, but there was an event yesterday that I kind of wanted to talk about, which is the Cadillac CT4-V Blackwing and CT5-V Blackwing announcement event. And for you, those of you guys that don't know, I'm actually rolling along here in my 2016 Cadillac CTS-V, and the replacement for this car was kind of announced yesterday, which is the CT5-V Blackwing. So I wanted to take this time to kind of give my opinions. Not that anyone really cares, but I figured I'd kind of react to that new CT5-V Blackwing. So for those of you guys that don't know, Cadillac actually changed their naming convention last year with kind of all their models. The sedan specifically, like you'd had the ATS and the CTS, which were kind of their small and mid-size luxury sedans. And those names were both phased out in favor of a CT4 and a CT5. So the CT4 replaced the ATS, and the CT5 replaced the CTS. So you already had an announcement of a CT4V and a CT5V. So you'd figure that those would have been the replacements for the ATS-V and the CTS-V, but they kind of were not actually. So the CT4V and the CT5V, the regular CT5V, was kind of like a, I guess, CTS-V Sport like they used to have. It was kind of like the mid-range model. And then yesterday they kind of announced their top of the line in both those models, which they're tacking Blackwing onto the end of it to kind of indicate or signify the highest model, you could say. So the CTS-V that I'm driving in has been replaced by the CT5-V Blackwing. The Blackwing is like the big daddy one that they released yesterday. So the naming convention is kind of weird there, but for those of you guys that don't know, that's kind of how it works. So yesterday at 6 p.m. Central Time, Cadillac had an event where they kind of debuted the new CT4-V Blackwing and CT5-V Blackwing. And the event itself was kind of weird. It was like a 13-minute pre-recorded video. One of the GOATs, Larry Chen, for those of you guys that don't know, he's an automotive photographer, videographer, super famous. He's probably one of the best car photographers in the world. He was kind of hosting the event alongside with some of the Cadillac executives. To me, the video was just kind of weird. Larry Chen, he's a really good guy, but like they were just really monotone in the video. They weren't really excited about it. And I feel like they did the C8 event a lot better than this CT5-V Blackwing event. But due to COVID and stuff, they couldn't have a live event, and so I will kind of give them a pass on that. But I mean, you could tell some of the Cadillac executives were reading straight off of a teleprompter. It just kind of lacked a lot of emotion. So it was kind of a boring event, I guess you could say. But let's talk about the car itself. The CT5-V Blackwing is what I'm going to be specifically talking about because I'm comparing it to the last generation CTS-V, which is what I'm in now. So the CT5-V Blackwing got announced. Now that's not a huge leap from power and torque in the last generation of CTS-V. So this one that I'm driving, the last generation, had 640 horsepower and 630 foot-pounds of torque. And the new one only has 668 horsepower and 659 foot-pounds of torque. So you've got a 28 horsepower increase and a 29 foot-pound increase. And that's largely in part due to the fact that they're using the same LT4 engine that they used in the previous generation of cars. So that to me was kind of really disappointing to see. Every CTS-V generation has kind of had a large increase in horsepower. You went from 400 to 550 to 640, and this new one's only got 668 horsepower. So this new generation only is increasing in 28 horsepower overall, which, it's sad to see. I really wish that they had put the LT5 engine in it at least. From that C7ZR1, that 755 horsepower engine. That would have been sweet to see in the new CT5-V Blackwing, but they're sticking with the LT4, and essentially the power increase comes from like a bigger supercharger lid and like redesigned cylinder heads and some different pulleys. And you best believe that if I can get it, I'm going to put that bigger supercharger lid on my car too to get the CT5-V Blackwing levels of performance. So that, to me, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then the exterior styling of the car is kind of meh. A lot of people are debating the looks of it, but to me, like the front end of the CT5-V Blackwing, it's not really that much different than the regular CT5. And the V models have always like had that hood bulge in the middle that kind of signify that it's a V model. but I think the new CT5-V Blackwing uses the same hood from the CT5. There's no hood bulge in the hood, and there's no like vent or anything like there was on the third generation CTS-V to kind of differentiate it from the other CT5 models. So that to me was another kind of thing. The rear end, I will say though, looks really good. They've kind of gone to square exhaust tips like the C63 and E63 AMGs are. They've gone to square exhaust tips, and then I think the rear taillights look pretty cool to me, in my opinion. So the rear end of the car looks dope, but the front end is just kind of meh, and it's really kind of difficult to differentiate the CT5-V Blackwing from the other CT5s. It's really only the grills that have kind of changed on the front end. In my opinion, the V3 looks a lot better front end wise. Now let's talk about some of the good things that they did with the new CT5-V Blackwing. The biggest thing that they've changed is the CT5-V Blackwing is available in a 6-speed manual transmission. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Cadillac, #save the manuals. They're releasing it in a 6-speed manual Tremec gearbox. And actually, the shift plate on the shifter of the car is 3D printed. It's GM's first time using a 3D printed technology in their cars, so that was kind of cool to see. And then also, the automatic transmission is going to be a 10-speed automatic. You guys know my love-hate relationship with the 8-speed in this car, and it's good to see that Cadillac has gone to the 10-speed auto that's found in the 6th generation ZL1. So that automatic transmission is actually going to boogie, I think, in that car with this engine. And the 6-speed's also really cool to see in that car as well. Some other things that they've kind of added is there finally is a carbon ceramic option on the CTS-V. Now, as you guys may or may not know, the C7Z had carbon ceramics as options, but the CTS-V never got carbon ceramics as an option. So the new CT5-V Blackwing is going to have carbon ceramic brakes. I wonder if those will actually be backwards compatibles with the Generation 3 CTS-V. That would be pretty cool if you could put carbon ceramics on older generation cars. So it's got carbon ceramics. That was really cool to see. It's got that 6-speed manual. There actually is going to be a magnesium wheel option. And then there's also going to be other cool features like line lock, so you can do fat burnouts, obviously, without having to, hold the brake down on the car. And so it'll prevent you from kind of burning up your brakes whenever you want to do burnout. So it's got line lock. That's cool to see. The dashboard is kind of a bigger dash than the last generation car. It's using the same size digital dash as like the C8 Corvette. And some of the screens that they have look really cool on the new generation. And then they've also gone to a AGK sound system in favor of the Bose that they've previously used in all the cars. And that to me is kind of exciting because the Bose in these cars, to be honest, isn't really that good, and hopefully that AGK system's a lot better. And then probably the coolest part of it all is the seats that they're putting in the new cars. The seats are freaking incredible. It's got diamond stitching in the seat. You've got carbon fiber. The carbon fiber backs on the seats are an option, which they look super cool. The new seats are probably the best part in my opinion, along with the 6-speed manual. But the new seats look awesome. And some of the interior options you can kind of do with like the tan and black, and then like the red seat belts and stuff looked really cool as well. So the new seats are dope. The interior of the car, they did a really good job on the interior in my opinion. It's got some kind of much needed upgrades. The whole like center console looks a lot better. The dashboard, the screens look a lot cooler, and the steering wheel has been updated as well. And it's got kind of that red stripe up top. Now obviously not every interior is going to be the same because you've got to option the car out. And speaking of options, the car starts at $84,000, and you can be optioned all the way up to, I think, around $120,000. So starting price around $84,000 to $85,000, then can be optioned up to $120,000, depending on what you guys get. But overall, I have a problem with the car because it just doesn't feel like a proper CTS-V replacement. It's just kind of lackluster in the power department. There's nothing really new about the powertrain and drivetrain that they're using in the car. It's got the same LT4 engine. They've already had the 10-speed laying around. They threw that on there, which they should have done on this car. And then it's got a 6-speed manual transmission, which is probably the coolest part. But at the same time, I kind of have to give Cadillac a pass because it makes sense what they're doing. It's kind of going to be like the last time we'll probably see a car like this, a big body sedan with a 6-speed manual transmission with a big V8. And just, loud exhaust, stuff like that, because I don't know if you guys saw that GM updated their logo. They're going to be going, they're kind of going to be focused on electrical cars in the future, hybrid technologies and stuff like that. So the car is kind of a final send-off, in my opinion, for manual transmissions, big V8s, loud cars, big body sedans, stuff like that. So that, to me, when you look at it like that, it makes a lot of sense, kind of all the things they did to the car, because, they're not going to develop a brand new big V8 like that if they're not going to use it again. It just kind of sucks that it's LT4, not the LT5 that they could have done with 750 horsepower. I don't know, guys. What do you think? To me, it's just kind of meh. And it's definitely something that I probably won't be upgrading to. Not that I was going to do it in the first place, because I'm not that rich. But it's really cool to see, I guess, for prospective buyers that don't have a Generation 3 CTS-V. And maybe the Gen 3 CTS-V will be a better deal now for some of the people if they kind of lower the prices on them because of the new car. But with that being said, there was 250 reservations opened at the time of release for the CT5-V Blackwing, which all coincidentally filled like in 3 minutes is what I heard. And then there's also a rumor that the new CT5-V Blackwing was going to be all-wheel drive, but unfortunately that's not true either. So rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, big body sedan, probably going to be the last of its kind, and that's kind of cool to see, I guess. So anyways, you guys let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Express your opinions down below. I didn't mean to be super harsh in this video, but I guess I kind of ended up being super harsh in the video. But as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.